live.
Woo-hoo. We're live streamed. It's happening. We're shifting, babe.
Are we
Hi,
holy
everyone.
shifting? What is up, everybody? Everybody, yeah, rock
your body. Happy
yeah.
Wednesday again. We're on time. I mean, relatively, we're like, maybe a minute off, but it's better than 8:30 or whatever, 8:05.
Yes, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Holy Shift Creative Lounge. We are so happy to be here again. Happy to look at Alexa looking all sexy. Did you give us sultry? Give us sultry.
this little outfit that I've had on all day and contemplated doing yoga in and not taking a shower before our show. Yeah, that's right.
Hey, you know what? We comes real nice and hard. We like it raw. We like it raw diggity, We come at you every Wednesday. This is the Creative Lounge. It's me, your girl, Michelle M. Trey Hollis, Vision Board Music and Vision for the Soul. And then we have
Alexa, the transformational activator, and super excited to be here once again, one more again, with the beautiful diva of music, man. We've been diving deep on music this last week. We'll talk about that later, but excited to be here. Thank you for being with us.
Yes, we're so happy to have you all. And today we just want to remind you quickly what the Holy Shift is all about. The Holy Shift is to remind us that our life is always ever evolving. There is no linear process to growth, transformation, to ascension, if you will, but it is in fact a holy shift opportunity. If we decide to take advantage of what's available to us, what we have is an opportunity to lay our burdens down, crispy cut off from the past, and connect with the future. So that's why I love that Alexa named today's episode The Power of Love.
Oh, yes. Love for you, love for everyone. We're going to be talking about all aspects of love. So we're going to be talking about the type of romantic love that we like to fantasize about and tell ourselves is coming for us in the future. And maybe some of y'all already have that love in your life. Michelle and I are, that's one of the things that we're calling into our futures.
That's right.
We're going to be talking about love, like the simple acts of love, just kindness, being kind to yourself, being kind to others, maybe even sometimes in those moments where you don't necessarily want to be kind. What do you do then? That's kind of what I'd love to discuss a little bit. We're going to talk about the evolution of, like where we're both at this last couple of weeks and where we want to go, and support you all with any tips and tricks that have been shortcuts for us or are really working. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and this should be an awesome hour.
It is. It's always an awesome hour with you, Alexa. And that is the first, thing to address, I believe, when it comes to deciding and recognizing the power of love. The power of love is in gratitude. Gratitude and love I feel like they're somewhat of like, there's a rate of exchange. It's a currency. It's a currency between the two. You really can't have love without gratitude. You really can't have gratitude without love. Yeah. And so when either of those things are absent, we may need to ask ourselves, what is this emotion actually?
Why is it here?
Why is it here? And if it's not gratitude, and if it's not love, might it be obsession? Might it be, you know what I'm saying? Might it be when you're having the expectation from anyone else, including yourself, then to just be and to love yourself and to love another just for who they are and being grateful to be able to experience them, then it's kind of my understanding and belief that just may not be love actually.
I feel that. Yeah, it's like almost like to have your needs met in this space of gratitude and love, like the truest sense of love. It's like you really have to be actually present for the moment, right? Because if your mind is out there like trying to latch on to something in the future, obsessing, right, or something that you might miss or miss out on, or lose, then you're really not
Okay. I'm not sure if she lost me or I lost her. So give us a second here. Okay. Okay, looks like it's me that's still on. Okay. Alexa is in deep contemplation right now. Okay, so she's gonna get back, she's gonna hop back on. And that's, hey, you know what? I'm not exactly sure what she was gonna say, but I'm going to pause this for a second and we're gonna get back on here. So basically, until she gets back, let's just keep talking about what love can be. Okay, okay, Zoom. Oh, there we go. All right, sorry about that, folks. Right, okay. My deepest apologies. I am having some real life issues here. Let's see, are you guys still singing? It's kind of like we spoke a little too soon about having it all. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I am still on live. Okay, that's good to know. Listen, we working it out, folks. We working it out. Here, this is her contacting me. Okay. Okay, so she's in the middle of a big storm, so she's trying to get back on. But you know what? Love has no limits. Love does not stop. I'm holding the space for her, just like we're holding the space for you all. What I was gonna say, the beautiful thing about Alexa choosing the power of love for the conversation for us to have, and just everything that we've been talking about personally lately, we've been discussing the importance of you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop this. I think I'm going to stop this the stream. No, I'm not. I'm just going to keep it going because we can always edit it later and I'll repost it. But here's the deal. You know, we focus forward. When we love in the moment. That's what Alexa was saying. She was saying we're not so focused on the future that we're not able to focus on the moment. And that is a big distinction when we're discussing love. You know, so many times we're so scared. We're afraid of our past. We're afraid of the future, that we lose the beauty of the moment and the love that is being created. And that's not just romantic love, although that does include romantic love. We're talking about, we're talking about intimate love. We're talking about friendship love. We're talking about collaboration on art. You know, I know a lot of artists that watch the show. When we are working on collaborating, or the possibility, you know, when you are creating a business, and when you are so, you know, when we're creating a business, it's like our baby. When we have an idea, we have a concept for what we want to create and bring to the world, and how we want to show up in the world, and what we want to give to the world. You know, we a lot of times it can be hard to figure out how to collaborate. with people in a way that gets to honor everyone's vision. And a lot of times the vision gets to be, there gets to be some a co-creation that expands the opportunity, and it may not look exactly like you wanted it to look, but that's might be the better way to go, and then again, it's like, how do we know? That's a great question to pose. How do you know? Let me see. Alexa's coming back here soon. She's trying to get back in. There's a big storm in Philadelphia. Everybody say a prayer for our girl. Lift up a prayer that she's going to be all right. Be all right. But anyways, when it comes to love, and it comes to love, and how can we be true to ourselves and at the same time figure out how to collaborate, whether it's in an intimate relationship or a friendly relationship, or when you are thinking of creating something for the marketplace and business. How about this? How about when you really love someone or something or an ideal, but then it kind of is going against the grain of what's best for everyone or best for the collective? What happens when you get right to that point where you're about to blow up, and you realize, you know what? This actually may be dangerous for other people, including my own nation, my own family. How about that? How do we decipher when love is coming in? When how do we decipher what love to choose? What love to where your loyalty should lie in love? What happens when what you thought was the truth turns out to be not so true? Where's the love in that? How can you get as close to the love as possible so that you can be able to co-create and to connect and to move forward in that energy, in the energy of truth, and in the energy of life force, in the energy of I want to really show up with a full open heart, regardless of what my beliefs have or have not been in the previous. Hey! Okay, I think we've got a visitor.
Hi. My gosh, am I sideways? Am I all crazy? No, here we go. Okay. Hi, I changed locations and I was trying to direct link in, but our internet is just down. There's a crazy storm, so my bad.
And look at the clouds in the background. Those are how the skies do not look outside there.
Yeah, correct.
But you are sunny and coming in gorgeous. You look great.
Oh, yeah, good to be
here. And so
good
you know what? These things happen. I mean, it's called technology.
Truth.
Technology. So here's where I had went with this.
Yes.
Where I had went with the conversation.
Yes.
And I really believe that it's an important conversation to have when it comes to love, because, okay, what I was asking, I'd love to hear your answer to this question, Alexa, because I was asking, okay, what happens when what you love, what happens when, okay, so because there's different kinds of love. There's intimate love, there's friendship love, there's, opportunities for collaboration in business. So now when we think about business, or that kind of love where you're co-creating, that's a good angle to look at, especially with the holy shift. Because when you're changing things about yourself, when you're evolving, and let's say you had this great idea and it's your baby, when it comes to our business or what we want, our ideas, especially as creatives, it's our baby. How do we open up ourselves and open up our hearts in order to create from a loving space with other people, even when most likely you're not going to see it the same way. Does that make sense? As far as like the vision, as far as like, so basically, if you're, how do you open up opportunities for co-creation and still come from a loving space, but also be able to allow that your idea, your baby, to grow, to expand in what outside of what you basically letting go of so much control.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I mean, I think that can even happen in a romantic relationship, right? Like, it's like, I've got a vision for, you know, how I want this vacation to go, or I've got a vision for our future. And like, oh, come to find out, like, maybe your vision is a little bit different than that. Right. So I think, it's interesting, because I've definitely heard a lot of people around relationship coaching, they're like, compromise. Like, if you approach things from a compromise perspective, it's like nobody gets their needs met, right? What's the shared vision that can be created? And sometimes it's not going to be compatible. Listen, we don't want to go, I mean, a lot of people say that going into a business partnership is even more intense than a marriage, right? Or like on the same level, right? Like, you've got to have a shared vision. You need to know how the chemistry is. You want to, I mean, you never can tell long-term, just like you can't in marriages a lot of the time. Like, okay, our idea is going to diverge at some point. It's not going to be reconcilable. But I think really knowing what your why is in those situations, like, what do you want to create? Like, what's your driving desire to create? And generally, we want love to be behind that, right? Like, what is the special sauce, the special gifts and talents, and the special purpose that you're trying to create with your business? Does it align with the other person's vision, right? Like, what's their why? What's the energy? What's the experience that they want to be bringing into the world? Why? And, is there that spark where you can really support each other and not be a hindrance? But I don't know. Did you have something occur in this last little bit that you were sort of like, had you questioning that experience?
No, we were talking about the power of love, and that was your thought. That was what what had come up for you for us to talk about, and I feel like it's a great question, because it's so layered. The beauty is that it all still, I believe that it's my experience that I love how you said it goes back to your why. I would love for you to explain what you mean by that, just for people that may not understand that. I mean, there may be some.
Sure. Yeah. So the why is really behind, that question for me gets me in touch with what's important to me, what matters. So, your why can connect with your values. It doesn't have to just be based on your values, but like, it's like, why is it important to you? Why does it matter? For me, anything that I'm doing in my life, there's generally a desire to, like, there might be a desire for me to get something for myself, but it's generally, there's also a benefit to others. Right. And so when why includes like net positive, like, it's good for me, but it's also good for you because I'm supporting others with this venture, right? With this business, with this movement, with this project, with this relationship, right? Like, it's not just a me focused thing. Like, when I can say why it's important, not just to me, but to others, then that gets me personally into that space of gratitude and connected with why it's important and why it matters. Or maybe it's not important and it doesn't matter. And in my experience, when the why is connected with supporting others, or, being some sort of like benefit for all, it's so much easier to stay motivated through the challenging parts, right? So when you're connected to your why, and potentially your business partner or your romantic partner is connected to their why, it makes it so much easier to see eye to eye and see if the visions match up, right? Like, okay, cool. Your why, you want to empower others to be the best version of themselves. I also do too. Okay, cool. Now that we're like reframed on that, it's like, okay, maybe your idea looks very different than mine, but if we know that our like reasons match up, it can be a lot easier to like understand the other person and trust the other person, and then maybe work from there to align your visions, or not, or decide like, hey, we've just got separate things that we want to do on the planet.
That's beautiful. And that's so true. I love that you said that, because that it's still, it's like either way we slice it. What has been coming up for me with the power of love is that it comes back to me. It comes back to you. It comes back to you really knowing what you're doing anything and everything for. You know what I'm saying? You know, it always still comes back to us as individuals. So anyone that is watching, you know, like the more I think about it, the more I realize that it has got to always come back to you and your life experience as for your own. Because I feel like, I mean, just based on my experience, you know, I understand why I understand more why it matters for me to help everyone else. What's been my challenge has been, why do I deserve anything?
Yes.
Totally. You know what I mean? And I'm like, why is that such a challenge for me? Why has that been so hard for me? And I feel like for a lot of us who have creative mindsets, who are musicians or or visual artists who love to capture the scenarios and the beauty in everyone else's experience, it can be hard for us to turn the lens on ourselves and say, hey,
100%.
my experience and my experience and my heart and my joy personally is important too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think that is, now I think that I'm learning that that's almost even more important than anything else. And I know, and I don't know where that's going to go as far as like where I'm going to go with that, but I'm okay to start there, and I'm okay to take some time now.
Yeah. You're like, we've spent some time on the, not giving love to ourselves, right? We've spent some time there. We've both spent some time there. So what I'm hearing from your share is the self-love piece. That I get to love myself equally, if not more, and then step out from that space. What do I create for the world and for myself from that space? And I mean, that's been a really interesting and challenging journey. I mean, I think, you've experienced it too, but I know for me, like literally not putting myself out there time and time again, because it's like, what you said, it's like, well, why do I matter? Like, why do I matter? Like, this is important. Like, the mission is important. Like, saving the planet is important. Like, people creating win-wins in the world is important. Like, everybody having their needs met and healing the planet is important. But like, is it important for me to go out on that platform and like have those conversations or show up like a boss in my own business and, have the biggest impact that I can? It's like, theoretically, yes. But then when it comes down to the moment, it's like, oh, I'm not important enough.
Right. Or I don't have the right things to say, what do I have to add to the conversation, And that's where we're stuck in our intellectual mind, but when it comes from, with the power of love, is that it just is powerful. You know what I mean? Like,
it's powerful.
Just the very nature of you showing up somewhere full of love is enough to change it's enough to change a city block, a whole nation. And there's a spiritual master, I don't know what you call him, but her name is Amma. And and I say all she does, but what she does is she hugs people. That's her dharma, which is like, I guess that's, I should know exactly what these things mean. I'm gonna look it up.
I think your dharma is like your work, like your work on the planet, like your like soul's work to like, work through your karma, kind of, right? Like, it's like what Yeah.
That's what I think it is too. And that's exactly what it's saying. Yeah. The eternal, let me see, the nature, an aspect of truth, or am I saying it right?
Dharma. Yeah.
Okay. It's a universal truth. I don't know. It's giving me a different thing. Okay. In Hinduism, in Buddhism, Dharma is the doctrine, the universal truth common to all individuals at all times proclaimed by the Buddha. What is an example of Dharma? Yeah, Dharma is a word without direct translation, but implies religion, duty, righteousness. So like what you're saying,
Yeah.
The concept behind Dharma, I like this the best. The concept behind Dharma is anything that upholds or sustains a positive order. That's powerful.
Cool.
The concept, anything that upholds and sustains a positive order. So like much like what you just said. And I like that it's not directly translatable, but anything that just upholds a positive order. Feel that. I feel that.
It's like your soul's purpose. It's like your
soul's purpose for
your soul's work.
The greater, for yourself and the greater good of all.
Yeah.
And one of the things because and one of the things about the power of love, and I believe a holy shift of thought on self-love is that it's one thing to figure out how to love yourself. I think that's that's one dynamic that can be, you're like, how much more do I need to love myself before I can move on? How much do I need to love myself today to move on? But it's really, I believe on top of that, it's a deeper, I think a more intimate way to look at it is to love your life experience. To really be in love with your life experience.
Yeah.
Within your life experience.
Yes. Yeah. Be in love with each moment. It's like, okay, I'm waking up, I'm making my morning tea, I'm like writing my intentions for the day. I'm thinking about the great conversations that I'm going to have, or just taking it, which also does require an ease, right? It requires an ease about it. And I think, for so many of us in the Western world, this drive of accomplishing, it's like, it's so easy to override those moments where we're just like, okay, I'm enjoying the moment. I'm enjoying the moment just for the sweetness of the moment. It's like, yeah, but there has to be, there's always like the clock is ticking behind you to like make the money. To make the thing, to get it done so that you can make more money. And it's like, that just sucks all the energy out of it. That sucks all the love out. Right? It sucks all the love out. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Snatches it right there. Snatches it
out.
It does, huh?
And then you're just in that go, go, go mentality. And it is those sweet, simple moments. And the power, it's like the more that we allow those sweet, simple moments, as you said, like the experience, to like loving your experience, loving your life, the small things, then that's when it starts to build to where it's like, okay, well, not only am I like enjoying getting up a little bit more in the morning, but like I'm a little happier when I see my next door neighbor, and then like I get invited to something cool because I was like actually showed up like a happy person who enjoys being around other people and has something of, it's like a net positive that I bring, and you start seeing that transform your life little by little. Sometimes not, though. Sometimes some people just get it and it's like woof, you're so filled with the power of love that your life transforms very quickly. But for me, it's been more of these like slow, like, okay, yes, I'm acknowledging I'm actually happy today. Okay, cool. Maybe that's all I need. Maybe it doesn't need to be more than that. It doesn't mean like I had to write the book today. I'm just having a good day. Like, and we'll get around to the book eventually soon, but like, let's just have the small wins sometimes.
Absolutely. I really am feeling that. I'm feeling that. And so, this, and I started a job. I just started a new job on Monday.
Yes, tell us about it.
Yes, well, it is a customer service driven job. It's really just taking calls in for people that are interested that need to get their wisdom teeth pulled. And basically all I do, and I've had a traumatic experience there, so I have compassion and empathy. And as I'm and it's a little difficult because it's now I'm being, and I did this to myself. Let me just say that I did this to myself because I've been working in restaurant work and things like that as I've been figuring out my way in terms of building my business. And let me say that, because we're talking about the power of love, and it really does start with ourselves,
Yeah.
of course, anyone that's new to the Holy Shift, you may not know this because I didn't exactly say that, but, this is also a creative lounge to make the conversation of addiction and codependency an open conversation where it's not taboo to admit that, you are changing yourself out of we are wholly shifting out of addictive behaviors, out of drugs and alcohol, escaping with drugs and alcohol. That's no longer serving us,
And that we're wholly shifting out of not loving ourselves.
And that's where it all, when you dig under the reasons why we escape, it's because we're not happy with our life experience for whatever reason, for ourselves, And so the reason I say all that is because, as we're growing, whether you desire to write a book, or you desire to create a program and things like that. And I love that you talked about that, Alexa, about, how like some people just get it, pardon me. The truth is that we don't know. Thank you. We don't know everyone else's life experience. We could have met a year ago, you and I met a year ago. We don't know the work that's been done 20 years before you meet someone. So you can't, there's no really point comparing.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no point in comparing, because the truth is that your life experience is yours and mine is mine. I know what I can bring to the world, but I also know that I get to heal still.
Yeah.
Some things for myself.
Yeah.
Before, and clear some things before I just full speed ahead.
Yeah.
And there, doing this job is, for me and my personal life experience, it's the right thing to do because it's helping me to get into a circadian rhythm. It's helping me to learn how to focus and to multitask. It's just getting me back in those, I shouldn't say learn, but it's getting me back in those habits. Sure. And that presented itself to me in the right timing.
Yeah.
Check this out, Alexa. On my vision board, I had that I want to get a MacBook because mine got stolen with my whole Phoenix, the ashes, we all fall down, dark night of the soul. I had to start over with everything.
Wow.
This was on my vision board, but they sent me a MacBook to work from.
Nice. That is awesome.
Now, does that mean the job is? Yeah, and it doesn't mean the job is the end all be all. No, but I like to call that the universe giving me a high five to the vibe, just letting me know that I'm on the right path. Yes, and that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. I love that you manifested that. And I love this idea of the simple things, right? Like the simple things. Because I think when, for me, when I've been in my depths of addiction or despair, I think they're kind of the same, right? Where I'm just like not in the energy of love. I'm not giving myself what I need. I'm not experiencing it outside. I'm like, there's something wrong with me. I can't experience this energy that I hear other people talking about, and then you get angry and all those things. But when you're in that space, I think there is this grandiose thinking that can accompany those spaces where it's like, when I write the book, when I get the relationship, when I XYZ big goal that feels like very far removed from your life right then, then I will love myself, or then I will be happy. And it's like, you're always just like with that thinking, it's just like the chasm gets like deeper and further away from you and like actually the life that you want to live. But as we start to like love ourselves little by little, love our lives, like despite the fact that there are things that are still not where I would prefer them to be.
That's right.
It's like, yeah, dude, if I want to focus on the shit that makes me embarrassed, like there's a lot of it, we could go there.
Right.
consciously choosing to focus on the things that are working, and like little by little, like loving those aspects of my life more and more, calling more of those experiences in. It's like, well, okay, it's cool. I don't, I'm not making the money that I'd love to be making yet. I don't have that love of my life yet. And quite frankly, would I know what to do with the love of my life if they showed up if I'm not in a good space in the first place? It's like the universe often is protecting us from the things that we're not actually ready to handle yet, right? Like, it's like you gotta go to the gym and work out with this frequency stuff for a while before you build that muscle. And then it's like, okay, now I'm ready for the $1 million, or I'm ready for the book deal. I'm ready for the speaking gig where I'm going to have my mindset in a place where I'm like comfortable to get out there on stage and talk regularly. Like, I wouldn't have been ready for that a year ago. Right. So it's these small wins that when we focus on and loving our lives and loving our experience, like then it turns into something bigger over time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the beauty of the beauty of noticing what, and gratitude is the love of what is. The gratitude is just another form of love. It's just the love of what is. It's learning how to bask in the love of everything right now, as it is, as you are, as I am, and being completely okay with that. Wow. Yeah.
It's so freeing too, isn't it? When you're just like, I don't have to control any of this. Like, actually, it's just my job to show up and appreciate, like, taking a walk outside, all of the beautiful abundance and nature that's there. And it's like, dude, it's not tripping. Like, it just is. Like, that's how easy. Once you get the power of love, it's like, oh, that's actually like what the foundation of all of this is built on, is the frequency of love. Like, there would not be all the flowers, there would not be the abundance of animals, there would not be the abundance of, all of the beauty that's here. It's only when we're so focused on the lack that's when humans come in and create all of this insanity. But really, a base level, like, it is love, it is abundance, it is gratitude. And so, like, the more that you can, like, relax, relinquish control, and just be. And I also get it, it's like, as humans, like, we have goals that we want to achieve, and it can be really, I think it can be really frustrating to know that you have something that you feel is supposed to come through you, or that you're supposed to create, and you don't have tools to get there yet. You haven't built your self-confidence up. You haven't gotten the downloads yet. Being patient through that process can be stressful, but the more that we can trust and surrender, like that actually speeds up the process of like moving towards it, versus this like feeling of like, I have to latch on and like, worry about this. I don't know. What are your thoughts about that, Michelle?
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I think that especially in this day and age, as spiritual beings, as people who do operate in heart and recognize that there does get to be a shift in the energy. That's how most artists have been. Most of the creative world have always had that struggle of not feeling like they fit into the construct of what, of this life construct that we're all supposed to do. And it's because I believe in inherently, we know that we knew or know, and now know that that's not sustainable, and that that's not true to love or to life. It's always been, it's never seemed right. It's never seemed right. So we've escaped in our art. We've escaped in our connections that we've had with other, when it comes to the drugs and alcohol, because the art usually came first, and then the experimentation to further escape.
Yep.
Next, with oh no, don't do it.
Oh no, what happened? What is it?
Tried to my I didn't have my
your mic.
And it's trying to go on me,
I thought you had a little small dog in there or something that was coming
Oh
up.
no.
I was like,
Like,
oh,
what is it doing? I'm like, no. I was pointing to the charger. But yes, see, it all good. That goes hand in hand because it's like then because see, once we started seeing a different world with the different, once we started being able to take our uncomfortability about how things were out of, by drinking, that eased our anxiety, doing drugs helped us to see a much more brighter and beautiful world. It eased our anxiety, but it was the quick opening, but it was the fake real. You know what I mean? It was the fake
wow.
real, so it's not sustainable either. You know
It's
what I mean?
not.
So, um, so I say all that to say now. I'm sorry with my little laptop scare. I kind of lost my train of thought.
Well,
I was like,
I was gonna say, when you mentioned this, like checking out and expanding, like a false expansion into the creative realms, right? Like, because I do think as addicts and as artists, like we're very sensitive. Like creatives are very sensitive. We feel things. We're very emotionally based. I'll speak for myself. That's my experience, and knowing all the
yes.
addicts that I know, like I would say that's pretty. And we saw we're smart too, like we're perceptive, so we saw things.
Absolutely. Some of the smartest people I know. I'm not even lying. Like legit the smartest people I know too.
Super awake. But like with that capacity is also the like capacity to go in the other direction, which is like super
The
closed
torture.
off, right? Totally. And I think, it's interesting because I started using, like, I never used like a crazy amount, but I had my first experience of like getting drunk and high when I was like 12. And
right.
yeah. And I think not that I could get it that often, and this was just like drugs this was just like marijuana and like alcohol. So nothing like, I wasn't like banging heroin at 12 or
right.
like that. But
some people do,
Right. Some people do. But I think honestly, for me, it was interesting because I did have so much creativity, but I had already at that age started to feel shut down and disconnected from my creativity. Like I think around like 9, 10 is when I started to get depressed, was 9, 10. And so I had this, like, I was like, I know I've got all this energy, all this creativity is something that wants to come through, but I was like very frustrated because I felt like I was blocked. So then it was like the drugs and the alcohol was like a false, as you mentioned, a false way to access that energy. But then there's no way to channel it when I'm high or like what, it's like, maybe there's moments, right? But it's not like, oh, I created a masterpiece while I was like, out at the club or something like that. Right?
Yeah, it's usually the connection,
yes.
the connection and those opportunities when you're partying. That's when you're getting to be expansive with others.
Yes.
But usually it's not when you're by yourself, especially not when you're young.
Right. So you're not like
being afraid it's you not being afraid. It's like we're able to put our anxiety down and be like able to be open with people. You know what I mean? And like
totally
like be ourselves when
we're and then I think a lot of people, I mean, this is sort of shifted a little bit, but I do think it's noteworthy to note that, like, I think a lot of people, once they're in their addiction and they have that pattern in place, it can be really scary to think like, okay, well, if I put these things down, like, will I get my creativity back? Will I get all of like that and like that old me back? And it's like, you don't really know initially because you just haven't had the experience yet. And that can keep you out for a long time because you're like, I don't really know what to expect. I don't know that it does get better.
That's a great point. And the irony is that the longer that you do drugs, the less creative you are. I mean, at least that's been everyone that I know's experience. And as soon as they get out of the dependency of drugs and alcohol, all of a sudden they're creating more than they ever were. And I mean, that's been my experience. I mean, usually when I'm in a drug and alcohol induced focus, I'm like completely I'm laser focused on some dumb shit that's really definitely not even me doing anything productive. Now, sometimes I could could glean out some productivity, but there's just a better way,
There's a
because
better,
there's a better way. Because with meditate, I always love to say to people, who needs LSD when you can meditate? I mean, for real, you
for
know,
sure.
you
You
know,
don't have to come down. You don't have to come down,
the
which is
come
nice.
down is a glorious one. You know, you go straight to sleep. You wake up, or you go about your day, and you are actually and truly, the law of attraction is better than any DMT or hallucinogenic experience you can have. Once you are actually present in this life experience, you realize that this is actually the real, like,
the real high.
Yeah, this is the real high. The Twilight. This is the real Twilight Zone. It's actually right here in front of our eyes. If we pay attention, we'll realize that shift is crazy.
Crazy, powerful.
In this ball of earth that's suspended in air, surrounded by stars and clouds. Like, it's pretty trippy on its own, bro. Like,
it's super trippy. Oh my gosh, you're so right. And it feels more and more trippy, like the farther that you go down the rabbit hole and the more that you get connected. And that is the love. That is the love. That's the fabric of what it's all built on. That is the love. That's that holy love, right? And it is, and I feel like, you and I are kind of in similar places with our paths, and like, it's just started to get more trippy. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, been like, for me, I'm about to get a year of sobriety in a couple of weeks here. And it's like, that's not that long, y'all. It's really not that long.
But it is.
But to just think that it's going to get more and more trippy the further that you go in the best way possible. I really do think you can get to this place where it's like, I don't know. Do you know Alex Gray's artwork at all?
Not familiar.
Okay. He's awesome. He's like a visionary artist, and he does, I think he actually does do a lot of LSD, or he's definitely done a lot of LSD in this time, but his paintings are like, he's got this place up in New York City called the House of Mirrors. And he is like, he's a well-known artist in this genre, right? Consciousness. And he'll do these like big paintings of like all the chakras. You've probably seen his work, but it's like all the chakras and like the skeletons and like heart beaming out. Like, it's very.
I probably have. I probably saw that. It's probably my hippie what do you call it? Grateful Dead fish friends probably have it all over their walls,
Probably.
But hey, they were on one though. You know what I mean? Like the hippie people, I hate to say the hippie people. I'm one too, okay. But like my Grateful Dead heads that went around the lots and stuff and that did do a lot of else, like a lot of them opened me up to this 25 years ago, bro. Like, I'm not going to discredit them and their wisdom. For real. Sure. They were way ahead of the mainstream.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. And I think it's all doors of knowledge, right? It's all doors of knowledge. But I mean, just the Alex Gray pictures are so like, whoa, they're so like, what? There's so much energy in them. And it's like, the more you go to the power of love and you in that, that's your come from in each moment. Like, I do think it turns into like an Alex Gray vision, you know what I mean, where you're just like, whoa, the colors and like the energy and like, whoa, the experience, like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's pretty powerful.
It does. And hey, let me tell you, the more that your come from is love, and just love of your life experience. Like, I remember, like, we've talked about it, it's funny. I remember the first couple times that I meditated deeply, and it was, I went to a Tibetan center, Tibetan Buddhism center. It was an online thing. It was just in this past year. And it was online because, everything was shut down, and they had a class, and I went and did the breath work. And I remember, like, afterwards they said, does anyone want to speak about their experience? And I was like, man, I saw myself like peeling through, like 3 layers of myself peel off. It was weird. It was really bizarre. And she was like, wait a minute. They were like, don't worry about don't get too attached to those hallucinations. I'm like, well, speak for yourself. But now, of course, as the months went on, I realized what she meant. She's like, don't get attached to going in and having some big experience every time.
Yeah.
Because that's not what it's all about. And so, but to your point, to your point, when you can just be grateful to be able to sit still, to breathe. So
Yeah.
that, just like you said, sometimes the point is just to be happy. Like we talked about this the other day. It doesn't have to be, it's not going necessarily to be crescendo upon crescendo. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like high, high peak performance every moment.
Totally.
Performance every moment. It's just the gratitude and love of just being grateful to be here. And just being grateful to be you and be me. That's what's important. Can you hear me? I see you.
Now I can. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. My son.
No, that's okay.
Actually, anyhow.
I was just saying.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to wrap up what I was saying. I was just saying that, that just being, it goes back to the love and gratitude of just our life experience, just being able to just sit still and let our heart go slow and breathe in and breathe out. Like that's enough to be grateful for. Some, we don't have to see it doesn't have to be, what is it called? High definition meditation.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, it's funny. It's because Joe Dispenza has this like meditation about the pineal gland, and he's also got this special breath that you do, right? And so when I went to the advanced retreat like a year and a half ago, I was like, of course, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna meditate this entire time, and like I better have some of these peak experiences that like other people are like going off into different realms, and they're like, I went into, I lived 80 years and like I experienced, like people who had like horse people and like, beings of light entering the room for that. And you're like, dude, like, that's why I'm here. That's what I want to experience. Did I have any of those things? Like, totally not. And even now, like a year and a half later, after having done a lot, like more of the meditations, I don't feel like my pineal gland is totally open. Like I'm not having these crazy orgasmic out of body experiences. I know that that's available, but quite frankly, like, will I take the day-to-day happiness over those peak experiences? Yeah, absolutely. And the more that I acknowledge the love, am grateful, appreciate, make that kind of like my mantra, like those other peak experiences will come when they come. But if I'm so focused on the fact that they're not coming, then I'm not actually in gratitude. I'm not actually in love. And so that can be a big trap.
It can be. And something that I know, I acknowledge you for, Alexa, and I feel very strongly about you is I feel like you are so present I feel like this is just my observation. And a lot of it may even have to do with this being your year of sobriety, your first year of sobriety, because, that just may be a part of it. But I feel like you are so present and you notice a lot. And you're taking advantage of so much that is coming into your life experience. And you are evolving. You've evolved so much since I've known you that I would thank you. And I believe that a lot of your experience, I believe that you're living more of your experiences than you need to, because I'm glad I talked about that being my first experience. Some of these people that it may have been their first meditation experience. It's a lot of times a lot easier to
go big.
To go big and to see a lot because you're not expecting anything. So it's easier to let your mind freer.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, no, I hear that. No, it's true. Yeah, it's like when you go, it's not at all like this. This is not even a cool analogy at all, but it's like when you go and play pool with somebody and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, pardon my French, and you like win the game or like bowling. Yeah, and you're like,
beginner's luck.
It
is. So I'm glad that you said that because I think that that's where we can get, like you said, it's like, it's just another breakthrough to go, because when we experience those exciting, exhilarating moments, then we get to now recognize that that's
Mhm.
not what we're after exactly either.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
True.
feel like what we're really after is peace
Yeah. Right.
and joy and gratitude and love
Connection. Yeah.
and connection for our life experience.
Yeah.
And we, you know, and depending on where you are in your life, everyone that's watching, you know, all of you, what my invitation to you is to think less. I said this the other day and I liked it a lot. It's like to commit to your progress and trust the process.
Oh, I love that.
You know,
Yeah.
because if you're committed to your progress and you trust the process, then yeah, you know, I thought I was going to be telling everybody to look under their chair because I'm Oprah already after a year of starting my business and no, I still got to heal from a breakup, from my uncle dying of COVID, from, you know, from my father, from being there with my father and my grandma when they died, and never really dealing with that. Like I've got layers of shit I still get to deal with.
Yeah.
You know, of being concerned with my mom, you know, being concerned with the world and what's going on in the world, and being concerned about, you know, those are all very real things that that if I don't appreciate those things, then it doesn't matter how fucking famous I get or how successful I get. It doesn't matter in life. And I think that in life, the last thing we need are more people just striving to be successful for success sake.
Yeah, no, I totally feel
mean?
that. Yeah, we have enough of that going on. I mean, that's the paradigm that we're in right now. And that's gotten us where we're at, which is like 1% is doing real well financially and probably also equally as unhappy. And then the rest of the world is broke. You know what I'm saying? And at various levels of happiness or unhappiness. So it's like, yeah, that's old news. We're stepping into something. We're stepping into the love. I do want to ask before, because I think you'll have some great pointers on this. And so I want to admit that as much as I love the idea of love in every moment, and I've mentioned this before, there are these triggers that I have that it's so time, like it's such old stuff. It's so time to like write the new script. You know what I mean? But I continuously, like I did it today, I got a talking to from somebody that I appreciate very much. I was called out and it was like, you do not, you know, once I'm triggered, I go into like hard controller, hard, like I'm going to just like tell you what it is and like back off and like this will happen. It doesn't happen every day now. I used to, but it happens like, you know, with quasi regularity. And so I'm just curious for you, like when you're feeling super triggered, like, is there anything that you do that supports you to like release? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, you know, lately it really has just been to be quiet. It's really been awareness, man. It's really, and that's where it all goes back to being so present in my experience, in my life experience, and knowing how much I love myself. And I want to show up. I want to align myself with the truth. I've always said that. I am on the side of the truth. So if I'm experiencing something and my come from is out of alignment with who I be, then as soon as I know that, as soon as I get some feedback that I finally hear, because sometimes it takes a minute to even hear, you know, really understand that someone's giving you feedback that's saying, dude, you're being an asshole, you know, or whatever, you know. But as soon as I do, then that's when I take the time to be quiet. I take the time to contemplate the situation.
Yep.
And I will be the first one to be like, damn, I was out of line. I was out of line. And then I just say, yo, I was out of line. That's not the way to handle this situation. I want you to know that here's a quick example. I was talking to a friend of mine whom I adore dearly. We met through the law of attraction on YouTube. And and he's amazing man. And he has very different opinions about, or I wouldn't say, we actually feel the same way once we get through the friction, like, because really the truth is that we do want to be about the truth. But anyways, but he feel, if I post something about, hey guys, be careful out there, he wants to keep bringing the conversation back to the vaccine and not or the jabs, and that annoys me. I'm like, we can't keep talking about that because we need to be talking about something above that,
Yes.
But then he keeps bringing it back to that. So we will really go back and forth a lot on that subject. And really, I hung up on him twice because I'm just like, dude, I'm over it. Like, this is getting me out of my energy. And he's like, well, it's not just about you. It's not just about your conversation. And but I hung up, and each time I hung up, I'm like, damn, okay. And I'm like, I want to honor what he's saying. How can I just say, okay? Why do I feel like I have to be so triggered to argue back? Like, why can't I just hear what he's saying? Let it go through me. Not in a like, oh, sure, you're right, I agree with you. But why can't I just let him just listen to what the fuck he's saying? And then just be, and just let it go through me.
Right.
And then hear it and then say, okay. Well, and then just maybe I could just proceed. I don't necessarily have to be. That's why I unhashtag.
You made him fire with fire. You made fire with fire on that one.
Because it's like you said, it's when I get triggered, because I'm like, because in my mind, I'm thinking, why don't you respect me enough to recognize that I'm trying to tell you that by that's not doing us any good to keep bringing that into the conversation. Why do you keep bringing that into the conversation? But that's my ego.
Yeah. Trying to control.
And it's a control thing. Why can't I just listen to what he's saying, let it move through me? And then I may decide I may still not be it. I may say, okay, he's saying the same shit he said 20 times ago, but just let him say it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm agreeing with him. It does, like, I don't have to have a judgment on what people are fucking saying all the time.
Yeah. No, I hear that. And where I've gotten to with this recently in the last like week or so is this idea of metabolizing your emotions.
Ooh.
And maybe we'll address this next week, because I know we're kind of at the hour. But this idea of, how do you process your emotions in a healthy way and metabolize them so that they're not stuck in your head or even in your heart? And I think it has something to do with your hara, your gut. I think there's like something there. There's something there. So I want to explore that. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that next week.
Let's do that.
Some tips
Let's do that,
for people
because
to process.
All love.
Yeah.
And I want to hear more about what you're saying about the hara.
Yeah.
And about that being the locale for that being the locale for the love, the real love. That's the real love. That's another level of it, I should say.
Another level.
Thank
Yay.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you everyone who is watching. I feel like this is a really tremendous conversation. I feel like illuminated. So, and spending time with you, who's just so out there doing the work, and every week you're like a more powerful version of you, looking more radiant, just more on your flow, more in your message. It's like so exciting to be on this journey with you. So thank you for being light. Yeah.
Thank you. I love you so much. And that's the power of love. The power of love is to get yourself a crew, get yourself some people that will lift you up. Because if we all are leaders, then no one gets left behind. So there is no competition. We all get to go.
I love that. Beautiful.
I love you.
See you next week, and tune in again, everyone. We're going to be talking about triggers, right? Triggers.
Yes.
Like how do you process it? Let it go.
Trigger finger. How to take triggers and how to not be the trigger. How about that? So
True.
Be back here, same back time, same back channel. It's Alexa and Michelle with the Holy Shift Wednesday Creative Lounge. And again, if you have some art music, poetry, whatever the case may be, that you want to toss into the mix, let us know. We're excited to be here with and for you, because that's what it's all about. We all get to elevate together.